Anthony Albanese has spent the day in Jakarta continuing a prime ministerial tradition by making Indonesia his first post-election visit. While only spending one full day there before flying to Europe, the trip has sent clear signals about the PM's foreign policy priorities for his second term, as he looks to strengthen trade and military ties. For more on this, I'm joined by Professor of Asian Studies at the University of Melbourne, Vedi Hadiz. Professor, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Now, firstly, let's look at it from Indonesia's perspective. Do you see President Prabowo's approach, how do you see President Prabowo's approach in this bilateral relationship? Is it different, do you think, from his predecessor, Joko Widodo?
Well, Prabowo is a lot more at ease on the international stage. So I think he would be more overtly welcoming to any approaches from Australia than Jokowi was. But having said that, like Jokowi, he will be looking at Australia in terms of how Australia can play a role in helping Indonesia navigate through the uncertainties of the global order now, especially in relation to big power competition between China and the United States, which has more urgency now than it did just a couple of years ago. So I think that's the lens through which he will be looking at things.
Yes, and President Probowo, he is a military man, a former senior general. Do you think he's more equipped to strengthen military ties with Australia in the face of increasing presence of China's naval ambitions in Southeast Asia, but also Russia's ambitions as well?
Well, Prabowo has said that he wants to improve Indonesia's military capacities, but that has mainly meant deepening existing ties with the United States, the country where most of Indonesia's top military officials have received their top-level training, the country which supplies most of Indonesia's arms. But having said that, I think that Prabowo is much more inclined to be involved in security arrangements, things that have to do, for example, with enhanced military joint exercises with Australia. These sorts of things I think he would be interested in, but he would not want to show this as being a challenge to China. That's important for Australia to understand, actually, because of the developments in the international economic order now. The truth of the matter is that Indonesia is increasingly becoming close to China and increasingly has tied the future of its economy to developments in China.
Yes, and Albanese did flag, boosting trade and investment with Indonesia. That is among his other priorities in an increasingly uncertain global environment, which you spoke about, brought on by Donald Trump and those tariffs. And Indonesia, as we know, has been the target of the worst of it. Do you expect things to progress in a trade sense, as both Probowo and Albanese, will be leading their countries at least for the next 3 years?
Yeah. Well, I've always thought, and many others have thought, that Australia and Indonesia haven't really maximized on the economic potential that the two countries have in terms of trade and investment. The fact of the matter is that Indonesia's priorities in such areas as developing renewable energies, increased food production, are things that Australia has the technology and know-how to help with. And therefore, that opens up whole areas of potential economic cooperation, increased trade, increased investment. Education has always been something important. Australia is a major major site for Indonesian students to carry on their higher education. And maybe it's been a bit of a problem that Australia's image as a site to which international students can pursue their education has been somewhat tainted by recent government policy. But certainly there are areas here which can be optimized, can be maximized, and which have been rather neglected over the last decade or so.
Yes, you talk about neglect, and you just mentioned that the seeming barriers to education, at least with the immigration policies there. But what are the other barriers in terms of what you mentioned before, agriculture, but also renewables, that has the potential to increase trade ties between both countries?
Okay, I have been saying this to my Australian colleagues for many years. I think that Australia still undersells its capacity in the area of high technology. So for many Asian countries, including Indonesia, when they think about high tech, they don't automatically think of Australia. When they think of Australia, they think about beef, they think about tourism, and yes, they do think about education. But actually, Australia is a place where we have very advanced, information technology. We have very advanced technology with regards to mining, let's say, which Indonesia is big on at the moment, food production, and many other areas that Indonesia needs to gather its capacities on. But I think we don't do a very good job of selling our capacities, and therefore countries from Indonesia all the way to Korea still look, and India, look to Europe and look to the United States for these things.
Okay, yes, no doubt lots of potential in many different areas. Professor Vedi Hadiz, always good to have you on the program, and thank you very much again for your analysis.
Okay, thank you. Good night.